Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Ji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat
Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So good to have you, Mataji and Ajaji. I hope you are doing well. Everything is okay?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Right, so today let's do mantra 4 of Shri Īśopaniṣad. Before we shall do it, Shri Īśopaniṣad mantra 4. All the blessings of Srila Prabhupada Ji. He's the one who translated Shri Īśopaniṣad for us. And please join me in Mangalacharan so we can take the blessings about the auspiciousness. Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Garangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radha. Hare Krishna, everyone. So good to have you, and I'm sure some more devotees will join in due course. But let's very quickly revise the first 3 mantras we did. And we did a bit of background introduction. If you have Shri Īśopaniṣad translated by Srila Prabhupada Ji, then there's a background given, there's a forward introduction given. Then invocation mantra is also there. Om Purnamada Purnamidam which is not part of Shri Īśopaniṣad. But before Prabhupada ji started Shri Īśopaniṣad lectures here in UK, then he used that mantra as the invocation mantra, and that's the reason it's part of Shri Īśopaniṣad, what Srila Prabhupada ji translated. And this mantra is a very famous Vedic mantra, Om Purnamada Purnamidam. What that mantra says that Krishna is Purna, Krishna is complete, and because we emanated, we have come out of Krishna, we are also complete. And from complete Krishna, we complete Jivatma came out, and it's still Krishna is complete. So it's very hard to understand, because if we have, for example, an orange, and from one orange, if we take 2 slices off, then that orange left over would not be complete. But that's material. Spiritually thinking is when, for example, we have just done Mangalacharan. In Mangalacharan, it doesn't really matter how many times we read it. Originally, it's there intact as it is. So that's how Krishna is. And today, because this is Shri Īśopaniṣad, every verse we will do will take us a bit more closer to Ishvara, to Krishna, to understand Krishna and Krishna's energies, which is very important. So we will spend some time on that today. So from mantra 1 to 3, so mention Purnamada, Purnamidam. So complete Krishna, and we are complete as well. That's the invocation. Then moving on to the verse 1, it says that this is where we introduce Īśopaniṣad concept, that everything belongs to Krishna. And if we would like to get more spiritual, if you would like to get out of this material world, if you would like to be happy, the very first thing is we need to detach from material world. But mantra 2 says we need to attach from Krishna. So verse 1, Īśopaniṣad concept, everything belongs to Krishna. If we will say everything belongs to Krishna, which means there is nothing left for us to attach to. So automatically gradual detachment will come, because everything belongs to Krishna. When we were born, we didn't have anything, not even the clothes on our body, nothing. And everything given was given by Krishna, eyes, nose, everything given by Krishna. When we will leave this material body, we are not taking anything with us. So in between birth and death, B and D, birth and death, we have to make a lot of choices, C. So B, C, D. Between birth and death, we have to make a lot of choices. And through those choices, we get attached. But rather than attaching ourselves to material things, we can attach ourselves to spiritual things, where we can be a bit more Krishna conscious. So the way we work, the way we serve, and we will see more examples today, how different devotees, they have done it. So that's first verse, that Īśopaniṣad, everything belongs to Krishna, so we don't need to attach to anything because it belongs to Krishna. But if we live in that principle, with that concept, what will happen then? And that's verse 2. If we attach to Krishna, we will always be happy. And you would remember the example of a lady who said, so the king used to come in different villages and everybody used to offer things. And this lady, she was very old, elderly, motherly affection she had. So when the king came, she said, I would like to cook for you. So everybody else was asking so many gifts from the king. Could you do this for the village? Could you do that for the village? And whatever they wanted to give, they were giving away. But all those were material things, right? Usually we put the garlands. But this lady said that you are of the age of my son. So I would like to cook for you. And then she didn't ask for anything. But then what that king did, king said, okay, why don't you come with me, live in my palace as my mother? So not only today, you can cook for me anytime you like to, and the rest of your life if you would like to. And then because she was living in the palace as king's mother now, everything which belonged to the king now belongs to the mother of the king, to that lady. And this is what the verse 2 says, that if we live in Īśopaniṣad principle, we realize nothing belongs to us, everything belongs to Krishna. But then we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna offers everything to us. Again, we can see that in the family. When children start asking for things, then parents, they take a step back. They say, no, you can't have this. You can't really have everything, you're not ready. But as soon as the child is started submitting to the parents, that I will do my responsibilities, the child doesn't even need to ask for things, will automatically get things, right? Everything. And if you think of, parents will never have any reservation keeping anything for themselves. They will share everything with the children as long as the parents are sure the children are responsible enough. And that's a kind of relationship we can understand in material world, of course, but this is a kind of relationship we have with Krishna. That if we detach from material world and attach with Krishna, and because we have already established everything belongs to Krishna, which means we will always be happy and Krishna will provide us everything. And then verse 3 says that if we don't live in that Īśopaniṣad principle, then what will happen? Then we will be very unhappy. We will be, because what will happen? We will try to become the proprietor. We will try to establish the ownership. Right? If you think about it, when we attach to things, the attachment starts. So the way I always remember, we say my. So this is I, my body. So my body, right? My wife, my parents, my children. So the relation comes later, but the my comes first. If somebody has said something to somebody's parents, that will not affect me that much. Or somebody has said something to my parents. So it's not the parents, it's my. Because even in the first instance, somebody offended parents, but it's my parents in the second scenario where somebody offended. So my, that attachment, due to that attachment, we get disturbance. Why? Because we don't realize everything is for Krishna. It's not my. Krishna has made such an arrangement, we are living together, but that doesn't mean that we should let anyone offend our parents, our family members, our friends, our devotees. But sooner or later, the way it goes, once we are Brahman realized, we are Paramatma realized, we will be able to see Bhagavan, then there is no one left. Everyone will feel like your own family members. So that's verse 2, where we will be happy. So devotees move from one place to another, and wherever they go, they find association, they find other devotees, and they are in harmony. But in verse 3, because they always think of maybe my country, my religion, my culture, my house, my wife, my kids, my. And sooner or later, either they're going to go or mine, those things or those people, those relations will go disharmony, unhappiness got to be there, because we don't realize Īśopaniṣad principle, that everything belongs to Krishna. So this from verse 2 or invocation, then verse 1, 2, 3, these 4, they are together in a theme. Hare Krishna. Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I got one question, which is that I was reading somebody else's lecture, listening to, and
Yes.
it was suggested that we think Krishna is our own. And we think that Krishna is mine, Krishna is doing, Krishna will help me, Krishna is mine. That's the basic thing. But
Yes.
I was thinking about when gopis tried to bind to the Krishna, then Krishna disappeared because he doesn't say that he wants to belong to anybody. So that confuses me. That what should we do?
True. Very, very nice question, Mataji. Very nice question. That's the reason Srila Prabhupada always said that bhakti, the devotion is, it could be an adjective, it could be a noun, but he said it's a verb. Verb means we have to do the action. So that's so true that Krishna is mine, but then what? Then what? We will have to serve Krishna. And when we will serve Krishna, then we don't have to bind Krishna. But you're right. If we will just try to bind Krishna, then it's hard. We can't bind it. And we will see that in verse 4 today, that we will not able to bind Krishna at all. However, when we will start serving Krishna, Krishna's devotees, then Krishna will always be there with us, voluntarily.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very. And can I ask another question?
Please, ma'am.
It was coming from your last week's, I listened it on the YouTube, and it is something about the pre-contemplation stage of a karma. I think it's agami karma.
Yes.
Now, if we are thinking of something bad, let's for an example, something bad, we're thinking about it, but we don't act on it. Does it bind us at that stage, or unless we act on it, then only it binds us?
It's still, the bondage is there even if we have created the thoughts.
Oh.
Yes. So it's not as bad as the actions. So we say thoughts, and then the verbal, and then the actions. So actions, they are the words out of 3. But even if we have thought about it, then it's bad. So one of the example comes from Ramayana, that when Ravan had Mother Sita, so he kidnapped and he had captured Mother Sita in Lanka. Then somebody, because he was a Danav and he had many mystic powers. So somebody said so there were many females around Mother Sita, Rakshasnis. They were demons. They were taking care of Mother Sita. So Ravan had said, whenever she is ready to surrender to me, let me know. And one of them came that doesn't really look like she's going to surrender to you ever, because I'm a female. I understand she's a female. I've spent some days with her. I don't think she will ever do. Then Ravan said to her, so she was the lead demon. And then lead demon, she said that, okay, I think there is one solution. And Ravan said, okay, yeah, come on, tell me what that is. And then that demon said that if she is very attached, so Mother Sita is very attached to Lord Rama. If you, because you are Ravan, you can change yourself, right? So if you will transform yourself into Lord Rama, so when you will approach her, you will become Lord Rama, then she will accept you and she will surrender to you. And we have seen such a incident happened in past as well. So Indra did it. He got Brahmhatya for doing that. He took the form of Gautam Muni, so which was very bad, because then he went to Gautam Muni's wife, who later became Ahilya, and that's part of Ramayana as well. So Ravan said, okay, great, let me do it. And well, no, sorry. So Ravan didn't say, because Ravan said, what do you think? I haven't already tried it. I have already tried it. And then demon said, oh, what happened? What was the problem? And Ravan said, well, the problem was, as soon as I changed myself into Lord Rama, I could see every female as my mother. Every female as my mother, including Mother Sita. That's what Ravan said. That I could see everyone. So I could not approach Mother Sita. Then demon said, okay, I don't think there is any scope for you. And then she went away. So thoughts, they are the original things. The very first thing we could do is, if in case we can stop the thoughts originating. And if you can control that, that's brilliant. But if thoughts, they have originated, still we can control them, but then it's very hard. So that's why we say preconceived. Even before our thoughts have originated, It's different. That's another example we say when, and it's all in our thoughts. It's very clear from this example. When a lady is approaching, and when a man, a lusty man full of desires would look at the female and say, oh, let me enjoy her. But when a child will look at her, the child might think she's my mother. When a father would look at that lady, he will say, oh, she's my daughter. Right? And similarly, different relatives would look at the same lady. It's the same, and this is, we can consider that as a sense object. So it could be one thing, but how different people perceive it based on our thoughts. And that's what a lot of yogis do. They control it. And that's why Srila Prabhupada ji said that if we keep ourselves engaged in Krishna conscious activities, then we will never get engaged in these things, because it's very hard to control our mind. So rather than try to control the mind, we try to engage the mind. So mind is always busy doing these things. So, and there is another very mundane example. So sometimes we take the example of a genie. A genie comes out of the bottle and said to the owner that I'm your servant now. I will do whatever you will ask me to do. However, if you will not give me any task, then I will eat you. And initially, it was a little boy. Little boy was very happy that, wow, I got a genie. And then said, genie, can you do that? And genie will do straight away. And genie, could you do that? Genie will do that as well. And then he will ask 100 things, and genie will do it very quickly. And now he's running out of the ideas, and he's thinking, I'm running out of the ideas now. And if I will not have anything to tell this genie, then he's going to eat me. Then what did he do? He said, okay, genie, could you have a ladder? And then genie gave him a ladder. Genie said, okay, put that ladder on the side. And then boy said, could you climb the ladder and then come down from the ladder and keep doing it? Whenever I need you, I will call you. And whenever I'm done, you go back and you start doing those things. This is our mind. This is our mind. If we can keep our mind engaged, it will serve us. But if in case we will leave our mind empty, then that mind will feed on us. And there are so many examples of this. Hare Krishna. Ajay ji, please.
Just going back to the thoughts which we were discussing previously.
Yes.
As a human, it's very natural to think like sometimes we think most of the time like a negative. So how to get any effect from these kind of thoughts?
Very true. Very true. Thank you so much, Ajay ji. And it's so true, especially in current environment. If you think things are, I mean, it's much better now here in England. But I was talking to someone in India yesterday, and they are back on the masks, especially in Delhi. They're back on the mask, and they're thinking they might shut down the schools again. And it's not good. The environment is not good. So I agree when you say that it doesn't really matter how hard you try, how hard we try, because the environment is negative, you're bound to feel negativity, right? And this is what we say, that it's like we have a boat. The body is the boat, and we need to go cross the material world, and the material world is a water, full of water, ocean body around. That water, we need the water, because without water, the boat will not go, but that water should not come into our life, should not affect our life. Now, this is theoretical. Now, practically, if we think, the solution which I have implemented in my life, and I will tell you it's working wonders for me, is that you keep yourself in association, right? Now, if I give you my example, and I'm fortunate enough that myself and Ajay, we work together in the same company. I don't check news. There was a time when I went to Middle East for a few months. I checked the news. Because my family wasn't there. I was in the hotel for 3 months, and my office was next to my hotel. I used to come back to the hotel room Whenever I was in the hotel room, there was nothing else. My TV and BBC News was always switched on. This was in Abu Dhabi. I did that for 3 months, but after roughly 6 weeks or so, I got very depressed. Now, I never got myself diagnosed, but I wouldn't be surprised if that period, maybe that's what they class as a depressed person. Why? Because BBC News would, and especially in Middle East, would always keep showing the things which are going bad in Middle East. All the wars are there, this person, so many, and the graphics as well, so bad. And it was very disheartened. And of course, I could not do anything with it. So I was so disheartened. What I did, I I don't think I was thinking, but I said, okay, I'm not going to watch this because I can't do anything. Of course, me switching off the BBC News is not going to resolve the issues, but I can't resolve those issues or could not resolve those issues anyways, right? But what I felt within a week, I felt more happy. Those things were still happening, but I was more happy. And then by Krishna's mercy, I got associated with devotees there. I found, and this is the beauty of ISKCON, which Srila Prabhupada ji put together. Whichever part of the world you go, you always find devotees. Then I started attending, and then it used to be in person. I started attending the local, because wherever we are, we always have local Bhakti Shastri. And then I went there, I started preparing things, and it's always uphill. Even till today, you wouldn't believe I don't check BBC News. My wife, she does it. Now even kids are growing up. So my son, he checks it. Anything which is urgent or important, they tell me. But me personally, I don't go on BBC to check anything. And by Krishna's mercy, my life is going very good. If there is anything which I need to, for example, I need to do some research, and it could be financial, if it could be if we need to buy the house, if we need to look about the solar panels in the house, the politics, the voting on 5th of May is coming in the local area, all that we get the paper. We when we speak to the people, we hear all those things. All those mandatory things are essential things are happening. I'm not missing out on anything. I don't go on BBC weather to check the weather. I remember once we were in the park and somebody said, oh, let me check the BBC weather. I said, well, we are there standing. He said, no, we are here. We are going to be here for 1 hour. Let's check how the weather is. So, okay, great. So this could be one of those things, if in case, I'm not saying close your eyes to the world, but maybe we don't really need to spend so much time on BBC, on a lot of other things which are not required. And slowly and gradually what we will realize, of course, that's first step. The second step is with devotees. When you are with devotees, devotees will share. Remember, all these things are material. Everything we see in BBC News, they are material. There was a war before, there is a war now. War was bad then, war is bad now. Even if in future, if something will go wrong regarding country fighting with each other, that's bad. Corona is new, but we had similar diseases before, right? And throughout the history, we can see these things come and these things go. Something else will come. Of course, maybe globally, we felt it in our living memory, which we didn't know before. But these things are going to be part and parcel of the life. These are material things, they will keep changing. And if we will go spiritual, in spirituality, we realize that Krishna has already mentioned in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that these things will come, you can't get rid of them. And we call them three. So there are three miseries here. So one is with body and mind. One is from other people or the living creatures around. And the third one is natural disasters. So Adi Devik, Adi Baudik, Adhyatmik. These three will be there. Now, if we are not spiritual, we are just material, we will worry, oh, why these things happening? We don't understand and we will feel more negative. But when we are with devotees, we understand this is Dukhalya. It's like when we go to the hospital, we feel bad. So I don't like going to hospital. And again, by Krishna's mercy, I'm fit and fine. I don't really go to the hospital, but because recently I broke my ankle, I had to visit A&E to get that fixed. And wherever you look, people are sad. Either they are the patients or the relatives of patients. And you see around, and they all are sad people. All are sad people with the bandages, with the blood, with the injections. Well, if you realize that you are in hospital and that's what you will expect here. For example, when we go to the prison, we will see all the criminals. When we go to the prison, we are not going to look for the good person because we know most of the people are prisoners there. Of course, there are people who work there. So I think it's the understanding of where we are. In the hospital, there are patients. In the prison, there are criminals. In this material world, negativity. The name itself is Kali Yuga. And Kali is quarrel. Kali, there are two. It says quarrel and hypocrisy. So quarrel and hypocrisy. That's what it is. So that's why when somebody says, oh, I don't trust that person, I say, well, that's fair. People will cheat in this because this is Kali Yuga. If people are behaving where they are, that's natural. That's very natural. What we are trying to do is to revive the true nature of the soul, which is Krishna Prema, which is to serve Krishna, which is to become a bit more spiritual. That has become unnatural to us, even though originally that was natural. Hopefully one day we will realize. But I understand, Ajayji, what you are saying, that it's hard, it's not easy. But I can definitely, from my own personal experience, I can say that this is the example of detachment and attachment. Less of negativity if you hear, and more of spirituality if you hear, then you will realize it's just the attitude, the focus we have in our mind. Otherwise, the world was still like it was before, and world is still the same. World will be the same. People will be fighting somewhere. And of course, because these things we live as a global village, the impact is much quicker to us compare what it used to be. But because we are in Kali Yuga, negativity is only going to get spread higher and higher, unfortunately. This is what we have Kali Upanishad, and that has mentioned it. So unfortunately, we can't really do. Negativity is going to increase more and more in this yuga. We have seen it in our life, like 10 years, 50 years back, what it was and what it is now. And we can see based on the scriptures as well, that is going to go down. But again, association of devotees, association of Krishna and Krishna's scriptures, that can give us a great solace, great solace.
Hare Krishna. Great explanation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Haribo, very nice. So let's move on. So what we will do, we've seen, this is the background because in between we did 3-4 sessions of karma. But now if we move on to the next theme, and this slides, or these kind of slides, when you will see these, I have taken from Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji. And I will mention him a bit more during this mantra 4. So one request I have, I will not able to do a session next week because I'm going away in a bit, maybe in a couple of hours, well, in half an hour or in an hour. As soon as we will finish the class, we are going to go away, and then I won't be here. Where I'm going, we don't have any internet there, so I won't be able to have a class then. But we'll be back for the class afterwards. So on 7th, so the next class on 30th of April will be not there, but after that 7th of April will be when we have a class. So we will introduce mantra 4 now, and we will try to conclude mantra 4 next time. And as we can see, invocation to mantra 3 They are the ones where we talked about how to live. Of course, there are three different things there, but living in harmony is the main thing, because that's what we are looking for, happiness. Satchita, Sat Chitta Ananda. That's what we're looking. And this is what the first few mantras says. Now, 4 to 8 is a theme, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, 15 to 18. So these are different themes. So we are going to move on to the second theme now. Second theme from mantra 4 to 8. So they are going to say that how the Ishvara can be understood by spiritual vision. Now, if you remember in Bhagavad Gita, there is a chapter where, or if you remember from the TV series, where during Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explaining a lot of things to Arjun. At one point, Arjun said that, Krishna, I understand you're a Lord. Initially, he didn't, but during the conversation, he said, I understand now. Could you show me that? I want to see that. And what Krishna says, Krishna said, okay, I will show you. I will show you that, what we call universal form, right? But Krishna said a very important thing, that you will not able to see. So Krishna said to Arjun, Arjun, you will not able to see me with these material eyes. I will give you spiritual vision. And that's what we are talking here, that we can only see Krishna with a spiritual vision. And this is going back to Ajayji's question. I was having another discussion with a friend of mine, and he's full of negativity as well. And we all are these days, as I said. It's not him or somebody else, because things are like that. And he said, well, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And so it's interesting, because Srila Prabhupada says, this is right, this is right, this is right. For example, there's so many, it says there are 8,400 species, right? And we got a human body. And not only we got a human body, we got a birth in India. And not only we got a birth in India, we got spirituality. And we got Guru. And we got Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Shri Īśopaniṣad. Otherwise, how many other spiritual foundations we join where we get the chance to read it? And there are few I can name where you can't, but most of them you can't. And I have personally been part of them. And I still have very good friends there, but they don't read this. And because they don't read this, they go, they have a great experience and they come back, but they don't feel a lot of changes in their life. Why? Because when they come back, they don't bring anything back to their families. Right? So if I go to the yoga class, I will do yoga, I enjoy yoga, but when I come home, I forgot yoga. But now when I come home, I do yoga every day. Then it's good. Not only that, my kids, they will see me doing yoga and they will follow me. Then it's even better. But these days, a lot of other spiritualities, people, it's like, I'm giving the example. It's like when people do an hour yoga in a week and they go out somewhere, do the yoga, it's very good for that hour. But when they come home, they don't bring that yoga practices home. And certainly they don't pass that yoga practices to their children, to the next generation. But what Srila Prabhupada has done, that anything and everything we do, we can have Krishna in the center. From the beginning of the day, from the very first start. So we drink water. Different people might be doing different things. Of course, we get up, then we drink water. When we drink water, the taste of water is Krishna, Krishna says. So the very first thing we can say, oh, thank you, Krishna. Because of you, I'm getting fulfilled. And then, of course, when we go to the bed, before we go to the bed, we can think of it. That, oh, because of you, Krishna, we managed to survive through the day. But the spiritual vision. Now, what Krishna gave to Arjun was the spiritual vision where he could see things. But what Srila Prabhupada has given to us, the spiritual vision with which we can understand things. And this is what Guru does. And I'm talking about spiritual Guru, spiritual master. Right? A spiritual master is not someone who will give you a lot of blessings to progress in your career. A spiritual master will not be someone who will say, okay, instead of this car, buy that car, right? Or have come there, I will make you introduced to a different person. So it will be a great networking. And a good friend of mine, his father bought a very cheap land as a farming land because he bought it from his god brother, which means another disciple of his own guru. And this is the material benefit. You might get it by default, but that's not the purpose of guru. That's not what guru will only do. One thing, guru will take you or give you the instructions, and those instructions will take you a bit closer to Krishna. That's it. So all those instructions my guru has given to me to spread the word of Krishna, to serve in many different things. There's only one purpose behind it, that I will get closer to Krishna. So my guru got only one intentions behind giving all these instructions, that I will get more close. And because he got such a pure intentions, as we were talking these days, people are so self-centered, but I'm so lucky that I got a guru who wants me to progress spiritually. And he's giving me those spiritual instructions. Now, that is what we refer to as spiritual vision, that understanding. The same thing we see, but somebody is thinking about Krishna and somebody might be thinking about something else. And this happens a lot. So when I manage to do something, I can say, oh Krishna, thank you. You have given me the ability to serve. Somebody else, when I say I means any devotee or anyone with that spiritual vision. So when devotees will have that vision, devotees will say, thank you, Krishna, you have given me such a skill so I can do some kind of service. But materially, if I'm materially motivated, I will be puffed up. Oh, great, because of my skill, I managed to do that. Right? And that's the difference. Spiritually, we will become more humble, and materially, we will become more egocentric. And that's the difference. It's the same thing. Two people, they have done exactly same service. So the spiritual person will think I have done service, and the material person will think I have done a favor. So the one who thinks I have done a favor will be egocentric, and that's mantra 3, where person will be very soon will be very, very sad, because this favor is going to stop somehow at one day. But the other time, the seva always continue, right? When you like to do seva, who stops you? Who stops you? Because you are not attached. And even if it stops, then the devotees say, Krishna, you gave me the, because this happens with Arjun. So Krishna was there with Arjun, and Arjun defeated everyone. In Mahabharata, so many people died. If you ask who was the main warrior, a lot of people might say Arjun. But the same Arjun, when was bringing the queens of Krishna through the villagers with a wooden stick defeated Arjun. And Arjun had everything what he had there in Mahabharata, except one, that he didn't have Krishna next to him. And then, and this is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam, then when Arjun reached back to Hastinapur, and then his elder brother Yudhishthira asked, what happened, Arjun? And Arjun said, Krishna, Krishna, and Krishna. Krishna is gone. Because by then Yudhishthira didn't know that Krishna has left. So that spiritual vision, until then, maybe Arjun was thinking I was doing everything. But then he got the spiritual vision. Of course, he got the spiritual vision during Bhagavad Gita as well, when Krishna narrated the whole Bhagavad Gita to him or explained it. But that's it, spiritual vision. Through spiritual vision, we can understand Ishwar. But without it, through material logically, we try to analyze things, or mentally we speculate things. Oh, if this happened, that happened. We will see. So those are mantra 4 to 8. This is the whole theory, that is spiritually. And like what we've been discussing, if we have that spiritual vision, whether we're able to understand Krishna or not, the one thing which will happen, and it will happen gradually, that we will become more happy. We will be more harmonious. Harmonious with ourselves, harmonious with the people around, and harmonious with the nature. Even though our body and mind and the people around us might not listen to us all the time, and the masters will keep coming as well. Hare Krishna. Apologies, let me see. I think the screen stopped sharing. Hare Krishna. So this is what we should always and always try to understand. I hope everyone can still hear me.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. But you can't see the slides.
No.
Sorry, my slide for some reason gone down. 1 second, let me just get that back. Okay, if I share now, it should be okay.
Yeah, we can see it, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much for the confirmation, Mataji. So sorry for the disturbance. This interpretation. Wow, great. So a lot is there. So what we've been discussing here is between 4-8, and this is the whole Shri Īśopaniṣad overview, but what we are focusing at the moment is 4-8, and we shall continue. If we see what happens next, we are dividing the sub again, 4-5, 6-7, and number 8. They are in the same theme, but again, there are subdivisions in them. And then 4-5 is where Ishvara is inconceivable to our normal intelligence, which means we can't really understand. And number 5, so we are doing number 4, but number 5 is actually very famous in Upanishads. Of course, this is Shri Īśopaniṣad, but impersonalists, they focus on Upanishads, and mantra 5 is one of their favorites. And when we will do, I will explain why. But 4 and 5, both of them will explain that why it's hard for us to understand. So understanding is one thing, but even to conceive it, it's like people say that I can do something which you can't even think. And then somebody said, oh, I know you can do that. I say, well, this is what you can think. But I'm talking about Krishna can do things we can't even think. Now, what can't we think? But we can't think that. So if we try to think something, and if we able to think something, then that falls into the category what we can think. So what we can't think is kind of what is inconceivable. And Krishna has done a lot of those things. Now, mantra 4 is there. And okay, maybe next time we will see how Srila Prabhupada has done word-to-word translation. But in the purport, this is what Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji has explained. So he's renowned as a spiritual scientist, and the way he has dissected the whole purport given by Srila Prabhupada, he has, if we see in brackets, he said P1, paragraph 1, 1 and 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4 and 5, and then 6 and 7. So if any one of you go Srila Prabhupada's Shri Īśopaniṣad, then different paragraphs explain different things, and this is what he tried from there. Now, if we see that 80 is absolute truth, and if we see all those, they appear to be 1, 2. Sorry, remind me to be 2. Yeah, so it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but yeah, these 2 and 3, they're very similar. Or Revelation. Okay, so the middle part is the same. first part, and then the middle part, and the last part. So we could see like a 3 different divisions in this. 80 is, because this is Upanishad, in Upanishad, 80 is very famously known as absolute truth. So rather than saying Krishna, so in Upanishad, very rare we will find the name of Krishna, Rama, or any incarnation. In Upanishads, we don't usually find it. Maybe we find, for example, Rig Veda starts from Agni Stotra. So about fire, how fire purifies everything, and we should. The whole purpose of the life is to purify ourselves. And that's how Rig Veda starts. But the whole purpose is to realize absolute truth. So rather than giving the names of any avatara or giving the name of the Supreme, who is Krishna, Upanishads mainly says about Ishvara or absolute truth. Something which will, like what we were saying, material is relative, but spiritual is absolute. It will never change. So absolute truth, which never changes, which is like another word for Krishna or Ishvara, absolute truth can't be understood by speculation. Speculations are when we, let's say we sit in meditation and we open meditation, logically we say, well, this can happen, or maybe this can happen. Or if this can happen, based on that, this can happen. So in Vedic, the way the Vedas were written, and going forward, there are 6 major school of thoughts, Vedic school of thoughts. And one is where this logic is the main foundation. So anything and everything they try to do logically, not based on the devotion, but based on the logic. And the logic thinking is very nice. It says somebody who wants to be the lawyer, that person should read those things. And in the past, at the time of Chanakya gone into politics, but his school friends, those who were good on those things in Nyaya, they call it, they went into, and that's why we call Nyaya Dhish, right? So, and everything to do with Nyaya. Nyaya is a school of thought in Vedic culture, in Vedic scriptures. So if you follow Nyaya, you will have a strong understanding how we should put forward the logic and how we should conflict somebody else's logic. And Chanakya also read that, but that was like a side part of it. For him, the main thing was political science. So they do this speculation, but for devotees, mental speculation is not one of those things we follow, because we follow Guru Shishya Parampara. The teacher, the realized teacher, Guru, will pass on the knowledge, and that knowledge will keep going through that Guru Shishya Parampara. So what we say, Guru disciple succession. So the Guru, the teacher, will give it to the disciple, and the disciple is a student who will become Guru someday and will pass on. For example, Srila Prabhupada ji was there. He also had Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ji, who was his teacher. And then Srila Prabhupada ji became teacher, Guru. He gave it a lot of knowledge to His Holiness Jayapataka Swamiji Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj. For example, now Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj, he was a student, but now he's a teacher and he's a Guru. He's passing into many more. For example, the name I mentioned, Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji, I think he's a disciple of Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj. So this way, the teacher pass on to student, student becomes the teacher. So this is, rather than logic, so logic again could be a secondary thing, but the main thing is that Guru Shishya Parampara which we follow. So the teacher explains and then teacher pass on. So this is what we will follow. We will see. Then revelation helps us to understand God and His energies. So it's not the speculation which we try. What we try, we will try, rather than speculation, we will try revelation. And how revelation happens, this is what we will see in details. God and His energies. So this is another thing we will focus on in this mantra, energies. So God is one, but his energies are multifold. Many energies are there. And we have seen this in Goloka chart. So Krishna is the God, Krishna is the Lord, but then Krishna got many Swarupa, and they are the energies. And they are non-different than Krishna, but they are again at the same time not Krishna, but they are non-different than Krishna. The classic example is of sunlight and sun. Sun is there and sunlight is there. We can say this sunlight, we can look sunlight and we say sun is there. So currently you just see half of my face empty because dark, because I'm sitting in a different room where I have a big window on the side. And I can't see sun, but I can see the sunlight. And I can say sun is out because sunlight is there. But at the same time, sunlight is not sun. So at the same time, it's same and different. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji gave the philosophy called Achinta Bheda Abheda. So, and we will discuss it in more details. Then as we are limited, so we are limited, but Krishna is unlimited. So how we can understand from his speculations? Like as I said, Krishna can do what we can't even think. And what we can't think, how to conceive that idea. But through revelation. Now, what is this word? We will try to understand a bit more. Right? And then, so this revelation is the middle part. The first part, what we can't. Second part, how we can. And the third is, after understanding, after being revealed, what should we do? Because remember, it's a verb, devotional service, what we should do. What we should do, we should play our part, right? And how we can play a part. And there are some classic examples I've put together and we will discuss that. But these are three things we will discuss in this mantra. The very first thing, that we cannot understand Krishna from speculation, right? Why? We will see that. And how we can understand through revelation. What does this word means? We will understand more. And then not only that, we can't understand, we can understand. Once we have understood Krishna or Krishna's energies, what we should do now, what we should do. And that's the main thing which is going to make difference in our life. We understood yoga is good, but once we understood it, we have done it, what we should do when we come home in our day-to-day life, we should practice. How to practice, that's the third part. So this is mantra 4, and the time is up for today, but this is what we will continue, not next week, but the week after on 7th of April. So I look forward. So if you have Shri Īśopaniṣad, please read it through. It's there on the web as well, Veda-based website. Or if you just type Shri Īśopaniṣad, you will find it. Shri Īśopaniṣad, Srila Prabhupada, you will find it in Google. And please read it through, and we will discuss a bit more. Come up with a lot of questions, a lot of examples, and we'll try to discuss it much more better. And with that, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to serve you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Samved Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Jai Shri Radhe. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much. Take good care.